There's been maybe half a dozen times in my life, so I'm 33. There's been half a dozen times, I think, where somebody's approached me physically in real life, physically approached me and told me some offensive things or wanted like some sort of altercation or something where, we kind of go roughed up a little bit or something like that. And in fact, I haven't been in a physical fight ever since, I want to say since I was like 21, 22, back in the days when I was, going out clubbing and alcohol on board and all sorts of things happening like that. But basically what I'm trying to say is it's been maybe like a handful of times that I've had that happen in my life. And some of those times have happened to work where I've had, patients come up, they want to knock your block off, they want to hit you, they're intoxicated, they're drugged up or whatever. So it's been like very, very few times in my life where I've had physical altercations, where I've had verbal altercations or somebody's yelling at me, telling me, negative things, offensive things. But when I started this YouTube channel, but before that moment, I wasn't really active on, social media at all. I had Facebook, deleted it 3 or 4 times, since I got it really. And so I was kind of like hot and cold with social media altogether. I didn't really have much. I got Instagram after I, got the YouTube channel and started getting a little bit more popular with the videos and whatever. But basically, since I started YouTube, I've been exposed to so many of these altercations where people literally sit down and write you offensive stuff. Literally just tell you that you're dumb, you're an idiot, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm a bad man, I'm sending people down the wrong track, all these kinds of things. And I think, ever since I've had the YouTube channel, ever since I've had people come up to me and recognize me in gyms and talk to me, I've never had anybody come up to me and want beef or want to like walk up to my face and tell me I am a loser or I'm an idiot or challenge me in my thinking. Never. It never happened. Ever since I was, like I said, like 21, 22, I haven't had that happen outside of work. Work, it happens all the time because, work in emergency, alcohol, drugs, 2 o'clock in the morning, people come in and they're not very happy. Not to say all the patients are like that, but certainly we see a lot of drug and alcohol presentations. So I get that. And I'm not even counting that. YouTube, my channel, has been a godsend. When I see the comparison of other channels out there, I think my channel is like 99.99999% awesome. By far, the vast majority of people are good people, share ideas. Even if we disagree about some ideas, there's some respect. And it kind of makes me feel like you are right next to me, across me, having a beer, and we're talking about stuff. How many times have you, ask yourself, had somebody walk up to you and like tell you some of the things that you read online? It is astonishing to me that somebody would write stuff to somebody else that they would never say to you, directly to your face. It's unreal. Like, social media is unreal. And I've heard people talk about this, and I've heard, horror stories where people take it on board negatively and, they get depressed, they get all sorts of weird mental health problems. It really affects them, their mental health. And I've had a lot of people in my private life, some of my colleagues, some of my friends ask me, like, how do I deal with trolls? How do I deal with these people who literally are there just to bash on people, put people down, step on people's backs? They're not there to kind of contribute in any meaningful way. They just want to literally throw negativity out into the universe. And what I usually say is, it does not affect me. It really doesn't affect me. Literally, when I read this stuff and people tell me I'm an idiot, like I mentioned, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm misleading a lot of people, and my knees are gonna break, and I'm an idiot, and all this stuff. I can't even think about all the things that I've had, But these are the kind of things I've had in the last 2 years that I've had the YouTube channel, 2-3 years. It doesn't affect me. I've said this in the past. The only person that can truly affect me down to like my heart, affect my mental and emotional well-being is my wife. I've said this to her. When you open yourself up to somebody and you love somebody and you've developed, you've got a family with somebody and you're completely exposed to that family, that's your weakness, right? That's my everything. That's my soul. That's my happiness. That's everything. She's the only one with the key to my chest, right, to my heart. No one else can really upset me to that extent. Now, there's another tier to that. So she's, with the kids, they're like tier 1. Tier 2 is kind of like that first circle that I always talk about. My 2 best friends that I've kind of, been around since I've known for myself, like since I was like 15, I've known those boys. Their words mean a lot to me. And then it's my, brother, my family, like, and, all that stuff, parents. That's kind of the only people that really have access to me. Outside of that, if you write to me something really negative in the comments, I'll try to see it objectively. But if there's a lot of words like you're an idiot or you're a moron or, like these things which don't, contribute to any meaningful discussions other than just attacking my, just like, I don't know how to explain it. They don't contribute to what you're trying to do. So say you're trying to tell me squat every day is bad. But you open up by saying, you are an idiot, Ivan. You're going to die and you're going to be in a wheelchair by 50. Just remove the idiot and the death and say, Ivan, I really think that this squat everyday business might hurt your knees. And we can talk about that day and night. But as soon as I hear, these put downs, these words which literally are just there to defeat me and my self-esteem and my mental health, literally this has gone beyond just a fruitful discussion about the topic at hand. It's literally he's trying to make it personal, and I don't even know you, man. I don't even know who you are. At least you know who I am because you can see my face and you can see me speak. Some of these people that throw abuse out, they don't even have a display picture, like a face to the thing. It's just not even a name. It's like a code. And he's, or her, I don't even know who he is, throwing hate at me. So when I see that, I'm like, man, there's no point. Literally, like, it does not affect me. I just discard it. Now, when it's a positive thing and people are telling me positive stuff and we're having a really good discussion, that affects me because that kind of uplifts me and feeds, that fire, that fuel, puts the fuel in the fire, which I'm all about, talking about the topic and all this sort of stuff. So in a way, I've got this like foolproof shield, I guess, to the rest of the world. Like I said, the first and second tier are the only people that can really upset me. So this is something that I've never had to deal with really in the past until the YouTube channel started, taking off a little bit. And now I have a lot of viewers who, watch me, I guess. And like I said, 99.99% of people out there are really positive towards me. But there are 1 or 2 who literally just rock up and just spray the freaking thing, message you on Instagram or whatever. And like, I'm like, man, why are you wasting your time, man? I'm a 33-year-old dude with wife and kids, man. Like, why do you think I care about what you're talking about? The reason why I'm bringing this up is some of you guys are growing up in this social media era. I didn't grow up in that. Like, when was YouTube created? 2010 it got really popular, I guess. Maybe 2006 it was first created, first video, something like that. I was like 15 years old, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up in a different era. But some of you guys are growing up with social media and your reality is, to some degree, social media. And so when you hear this stuff, you might internalize it a little bit more. This is where I feel, and I tell everyone, be very, very careful how much of this stuff you consume. I'm looking at my kids and I know they're purely going to be growing up and living in social media. They're going to be surrounded by it. I can see where this is going. But you have to kind of, imagine that social media, this phone that I'm holding right now, talking to you guys, it's kind of like a separate reality. There's a real reality. And that's where true lessons are. The social media, you need to kind of put on different glasses, a different lens, to see this stuff through. And this is kind of how I look. I use a different lens for this stuff. I've spoken about this in the past, but to me, it's almost like a video game. Because this is like virtual, like reality. It's like some fantasy. I've got this YouTube channel, I upload these videos, and I've talked to a lot of people, but I don't really know anybody, man. It's just a whole bunch of codes, and there's a lot of you guys that I continuously talk to, and I've kind of developed a relationship with some of you guys. I know what you like, what you don't like in gyms and whatever. I feel like there's some color and there's some sort of shape to your faces. But for the most part, I'm thinking this is like, it's a fantasy world, man. And so how do I, if I play FIFA right now, or if I play Skyrim and I get killed, I don't cry about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not crying, oh my God, I died, or whatever. I'm well aware it's a fantasy world, man. Like, It's not my real life. That's how I look at social media. I've been asked a few times, Ivan, how do you deal with fame or whatever? Like, it's not really true fame. It's just kind of like, I don't even know. Like, I categorize it completely different. Like, it's just a fantasy world. And through these same lenses, I see, the stuff that I see. This is what kind of led me to the training programs and ideas that I have. Is because I literally found out that a lot of this crap is a fantasy. It's a video game. Some of these guys are cheating. They put codes in. They use drugs. They alter their pictures. And then they come and sell me a program and they're like, what's up, man? I'm like, man, screw you, man. I'm not buying anything from you, man. I don't even want to play your game. Because this is the world we live in. And so we consume a lot of that. And I feel like a lot of us consume too much. And then it affects our real life. You look at the mirror, you're like, look at this piece of shit. Look how fat I am. Like, why am I so weak or whatever? Because you click on that link and the dude's like shredded at 200 kilos and 6'1". You're like, Jesus, I'm 100 kilos, 6'1", and 20% body fat. What's up with that, man? I've got 20 extra freaking kilos of fat. So how do I deal with that? Well, I'll tell you how to deal with it. Play the game. Load that thing up and alter the damn image and upload it and do the same. Play the game, right? That's the game they want you to play. I mean, that's what you could do. To me, I just couldn't care less, man, because my real life, like I said to you, tier 1, tier 2, that's my life. These are the people that have access to me in my chest and my heart and whatever. Everything else, like, it just doesn't affect me as much, man. Yes, I use it as a tool and I talk to you guys and absorb a lot of this energy, and I love positivity and I've been blessed. The channel is mostly positive. The vast majority, I want to emphasize that, positive people. But I occasionally get people who are literally there to bash. And I know this person would never walk up to me on the street and be like, Ivan, man, you're a piece of shit. I know that. I know this, like, it never happens to me in real life, man. So it's a fantasy world, man. It's kind of like when you see in FIFA weird body movements or whatever. You just have to think to yourself, somebody's written that code in to make that thing happen like that. It's not reality. Players don't move like that. Can't full sprint and turn on the dime, 90-degree turn. Like, the hell is that, man? That's how I've used this stuff. So that's what I would recommend to you guys. Put on a separate, different sort of goggles on, whatever you consume on social media, all of your idols, your lifters, and all of that. Just part of you should be always saying, how much is this real? That's kind of how I think about it, man. And this is why I always say to you guys, man, always lean on the side of your experience, your real evidence. That's your real evidence. That. That's where your trust should be. A lot of you guys also talk about, research studies. That's also a lens there's a different set of glasses I look, through those studies. Those studies are not perfect. There's many influences. There's money that's feeding some of these studies, and it's very, very hard. Like the other day, I think it was yesterday actually, we were talking about these diets, and one of the comment threads got a little bit heated about cholesterol, good fat, bad fat, monosaturated fat, fully saturated, like all this stuff. And I've been down this rabbit hole, man. Like, there are literally studies that say, animal source fat is good, and then there's direct studies that say it's bad. And who knows what's going on? Who's funding what, man? There's the dairy industry. There's there's the potato industry. I don't really know what's going on, man. So even when I read these studies, people basically are like, it's the Bible, it's the Quran. No, man, like, it's just whatever, man. Somebody paid some guy to say whatever he wanted to say. It's like, did you collect the data yourself? I'm always skeptical like that, man. That's how I think about these things. Anyway, man, I'm rambling like hell crazy, man. But trolls. We're living in a social media where it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy, and if you are 20 years old, maybe, you're more affected than me. But if you're wondering, how do I deal with it? I never talk about this stuff usually. It doesn't affect me, man. It doesn't affect me. It literally, as soon as I see the insults, soon as I see the red flags, the energy in the comment, I can see the motivation here is not for an exchange of thoughts or an exchange of knowledge or to learn or whatever. I can see that this guy literally wants to pour the bucket of shit on top of my head and then leave. He's not interested in me telling him my end of the story or my experience in life. He knows, he's got the Holy Grail. He understands everything about biomechanics, physics, law of nature. He understands everything. He's the Almighty. He's seen the truth. And then he puts the shit on top of my head and leaves. There's a lot of people like that. They know everything. They're born ready. They know everything. All the information is in their head. My perspective has always been, man, there are many, many forms of life. Lots of people have different experiences. Lots of people, and that doesn't mean your experience is the correct one. It's just it's one experience, an experience. So this is how I look at it. My squat everyday thing is really good for me. Somebody from looking from the other end like, that's crazy. But you don't know what I'm dealing with in my circumstances, my life, and my personality and the rest of it. So it's like, there's no right or wrong in a way. I mean, there are some things that are wrong, but you have to look through a lens of, I wonder what experiences led that guy down this path. That's how I think about it. But anyway, that was on my mind because there's been a few interactions with you guys, obviously positive interactions, which is why I made a video like that, asking me basically, how much hate do you get and how do you deal with this sort of stuff? And I thought it was kind of on my head, and you guys know these videos are purely non-scripted. It literally turned the freaking video on and I let it rip, and that was what was on my mind. And maybe some of you guys will appreciate that side of the coin, I guess. Anyway, guys, appreciate all of you on the list, on the DMs, in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.